Bitcoin right now is decoupling from the equity market. And I think this tiny $2 trillion market is sending a warning to the rest of the world. Let's listen to what Bloomberg thinks about Bitcoin decoupling from the rest of the market.
Welcome back. Not a lot of green on the screen today, as you know. However, you probably didn't look at Bitcoin. Danae McKeel did, and she's here. It's up 3%. What do you make of the way that this has been trading? It's decoupled, obviously, from the NASDAQ, which was a trend for a while.
Something that people were looking for all month, because if you go back to earlier this month, it really was trading in line with stocks. It just was not seeing the big, pops and drops that, one, we're used to seeing out of Bitcoin, and two, it is outperforming the S&P. It has not really caught up with gold, the leading safe haven. But I think you are seeing evidence, not just. I think that the obvious and easy narrative would be that we're talking about Fed independence today. So Bitcoin is kind of acting as that hedge against, political uncertainty. But I also think that it's not just enthusiasm, it's also exhaustion. You're seeing people, investors wanting to, get back into risk, but just maybe not the type of risk that's tied to earnings or Fed policy.
Does that make sense? People want to get back into risk, but not the type of risk tied to earnings or Fed policy. I don't know if I buy that narrative. I just think Bitcoin is decoupling from the markets. It's as simple as that. People want safe havens. People want Bitcoin. They want gold. They are absolutely exiting out of the fiat trash that we always talk about. Have a look at the chart on screen right now. You can see in orange the S&P 500 down about what looks to be 8%. Bitcoin up 8% in the same time frame. I think that's absolutely fascinating. There's something else that the CNBC host mentioned was gold. And gold right now is absolutely doing a lot, might I say. If we take a look at the chart of gold, we can see it is aggressively rallying right now at the time of recording. We can see it did have a little pullback here, but gold just hit $3,500. If I were to zoom out, I'll show you how crazy this chart looks. That there kind of looks like the chart of fiat dying. Now, again, you guys know I'm massive Bitcoin bull on this channel, but again, I can't fault gold. I know a lot of people want to buy gold, and there's a ton of gold bugs who watch these videos. And again, kudos if you've held gold over the past 20 years, because it has performed well. Check it out. I mean, even since 2024, when it broke out, I mean, gold's up 50, 60% right now, the time recording. I mean, they've at least outperformed the expansion of the money supply over the past, 13, 15 months, so to say. Gold's up 64%. So there we go. Gold bugs have been finally rewarded for holding gold as long as they have. It's been a little bit painful to hold gold, especially when you consider how long it took for them to break that 2011 all-time high. Again, gold was at $2,000 an ounce in 2011, and it only finally broke above $2,000 an ounce in March 2024. So again, kudos to the gold bugs. We know we give them a lot of shtick here on the channel, but gold is performing really well, and gold and Bitcoin are kind of the massive alarm bells right now, saying, hey, people want sound money. They even want out of stocks, which is pretty crazy to think about. S&P 500 absolutely trashed over the past few weeks. Again, the S&P 500 just had a really aggressive and violent crash. If I'd actually show you how crazy it was, have a look at this. The S&P 500 corrected by around 30%. Now, let's remember what happened the last time the S&P 500 corrected this violently, this quickly. This was the other time on the chart. Okay, so the S&P 500 is down about 23%. My mistake. It's not down 30 just yet. But again, what happened here way back in 2020 when the S&P 500 had that violent 36% correction in 3 weeks? Bitcoin lost 60% of its value. Well, what happened during this very violent, again, 3-week time window? This is a comparable drawdown. Yes, it's only 24% of a drawdown, but it happened in 3 weeks. That's very quick and very rapid. Bitcoin hardly budged. Right now, let's have a look at the difference to see how Bitcoin has performed this time around. I don't know how this is going to look on the same chart, but we're going to try our best to stick them on the same chart. All right, that didn't work. Let's try it this way. So when you have a look at Bitcoin, again, I don't see the same 50 to 60% correction that we saw in March 2020 when Bitcoin had this, call it what it is, it was a flash crash. Bitcoin crashed 60%. More recently, can we even spot the Bitcoin correction over the past 3 weeks on the chart? Bitcoin's really hardly moved over the past 3 weeks. That the box there I've got on screen is 8 weeks worth of data. Maybe Bitcoin has already decorrelated from stocks. Maybe Bitcoin corrected early. Maybe Bitcoin was the smoke alarm, because we did see Bitcoin kind of sold off here from 95K to 75K in the weeks before the stock market crash. So maybe that's what Bitcoin is. It is the smoke alarm calling BS on the fiat system. I think most of you guys know that Bitcoin is calling BS on the fiat system. That's why I always encourage you guys, get your wealth into Bitcoin while you can. I don't think we're going to be able to do this forever. I don't think we're going to be able to take advantage of buying a lot of Bitcoin on exchanges forever. If you are looking to get your wealth out of fiat into Bitcoin in a pretty rapid or just a big way, so to say, I always encourage you guys to check out our show partner and show sponsor, the Bitcoin Well. They have a specialized program for large Bitcoin transactions. Again, you can book a call with a specialist at the Bitcoin Well who's going to hold your hand through the Bitcoin buying process. And they have an over-the-counter Bitcoin service for high volume transactions. So if you do, click the link in the description, scroll on down that page on the Bitcoin Well, and click on this button here. You'll be able to book a call with a specialist from the Bitcoin Well. So highly encourage you guys, check them out. And again, whether you've got 1 million sats, 1 Bitcoin, or 10 Bitcoin, I don't think you own the Bitcoin unless you've got it backed up and stored correctly, which is why I always encourage you guys to check out what Stampseed is doing. Stampseed creates the industry standard titanium alternative for your Bitcoin 12 or 24 words. Again, I take these things with me absolutely everywhere. I've got a video coming with my titanium plates in the not too distant future. So again, take advantage of a 15% off discount on anything you want to buy from Stampseed with a promo code Luke15. Because Bitcoin not backed up correctly could scare some people in the future. Even Peter Schiff is stacking Bitcoin, to McLovin's point. Could not agree more. I think everybody's stacking Bitcoin because they're aware that Bitcoin is the only really escape valve. This is why, again, Switzerland, home of the Swiss National Bank, they're called Bitcoin City. They have a city in Switzerland called Lugano that is Bitcoin City. And again, Peter Schiff's buying Bitcoin. The Swiss Central Bank is buying Bitcoin. That's because Bitcoin is the only escape. If you want to learn about how much Bitcoin you need for retirement, I actually filmed 2 videos recently that do a little bit of a deep dive on that topic. I'm going to put links to those videos up on screen. And with that said, thank you so much to